Here comes my spinning head!
Marty! It's time to hear another story of the realms.
Oh, Ed, you're here for your book, Nook.
Yes. Let's talk about the Forgotten Realms.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marty Durham with Wizards of the Coast Publishing, and welcome to the Book Nook Gen Con. Sorry, I'm just was taking a nap. This Gen Con can be pretty tiring. Keep you running around here.
You start telling them a story and just like that.
But I'm lucky enough today to be sitting here with the creator of the Forgotten Realms, the Sage of Shadowdale himself, Mr. Ed Greenwood.
Hi!
Welcome to the Nook, Ed.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
I'm glad
What
you're
a
able
cozy
to
little place you got here.
Yeah. So now, tell us about Waterdeep in 4th edition. Where did you get your inspiration for the new districts?
Well, I got my inspiration for the new districts when I was told, hey, Ed, detail Waterdeep for us, and it's got to have some new neighborhoods. Oh, okay, I guess it does. You know, and I thought, so what can I do? I can go down. Well, okay, that's been done before, but we did in fact do it. That's where Down Shadow comes from. We're going to mess up Under Mountain. We'd already done that in the adventure. So it's what fills that vacuum? That was the obvious one. The second obvious one is you have a natural defense of the cliff on the east side of the city. But all real-world cities in Europe, for instance, the walled cities, outgrew their walls. They kept on expanding. So there was a city wall in the middle of the city.
Yes.
And, okay, obviously that meadow outside where all the caravans camped, where we actually saw in the novel that Elaine Cunningham and I wrote, City of Splendors, we actually saw some nobles hawking in the morning, taking their falcons for, you know, what they could catch and eat for sport. They build on that. So that's another obvious neighborhood. Where else? The harbor. So what if, okay, because I want to make Waterdeep less of a sort of powerhouse than it was. Still a crossroads, but more inward looking and drawn in and more corrupt and so on. So they would let their navy go. And all these rotting ships would be lashed together into this lawless neighborhood that isn't mapped, that the watch goes very rarely and in huge groups for their own protection. Okay, and there's where we get Mistshore from, okay? And that's basically the way we went about it. Elaine had added the Warrens formally, and again in City of Splendors. I thought, okay, the Warrens is going to expand because there's going to be more gnomes and more dwarves, and you know the gnomes nobody knows. You know, they have to live somewhere. You know, and so we sort of hollowed out all the available areas and said, okay, there's a new neighborhood here, and there'll be a new one up in the north, and you know, and then it wasn't so much the real estate as again turn it back to the characters. What's it like to live there? And I was writing the sort of guide for the novel writers. I have to bring the lords to life, the guild masters, if there are any still. What are they like? Who are the movers and shakers in this? And the whole realms is actually people, not places. We come up with cute names for the places, and occasionally we make the places really cool. You know, a beautiful misty waterfall in the woods that the unicorns run up and down, or something like that. But it's really the people that make the world come alive. So Waterdeep, for updated for 4th edition, is more who are the people that I have to beware of. You know, and that was the main focus.
So what was it like working on the that series, the Ed Greenwood Presents Waterdeep series?
It was great because every novel so far, every novel in the series has been a standout. They've all been different as chalk and cheese, thank goodness. So I'm not going, oh yes, another one like the last one. No, they're all different. And I've been able to have the pleasure of reading before everybody else. I didn't have to line up at the Wizard's booth to get it. All these books before anybody else got to read them. And I'm working with an editrix I love to work with, Susan, and she keeps throwing me these first drafts electronically, and I read them. She says, so, is there anything you didn't like? No. Come on, give me some useful feedback here. I like it. You know, and I realize how useless that is to her, but I mean, I get to the end book, I like it, I want to read more, you know. And the first book was almost a gimme, because it was Stephen Shen telling the sequel to Blackstaff.
Right.
Blackstaff Tower is steeped in untold, unfinished stories from before, and it's a root story of Waterdeep. Blackstaff Tower. So it's a very in book. It's for people who get the past history of the realms and wanted to see what was behind the curtain. Then the second book, Miss Shore, was the first book to take one of these new neighborhoods and just go to town on it.
Kind of flesh it out.
Yeah. And each book after that has fleshed out neighborhoods. So Down Shadow, zinger of a book. And I'm going, wow, there's this great scene in Down Shadow where this main male protagonist is in bed in his rented rooms with one woman, and there are two others in the room outside. And you're thinking, oh, this is like one of these sitcoms. How is he going to get himself out of this? But it's not all a fun and games thing. It's deadly serious, and he's searching for his own way, his own path. And all of these female characters have different designs on him, and it's a great book. And I think, this is wonderful. And then Rosemary Jones gives us City of the Dead, and it's a great book, but completely different. Mm-hmm. It's about the Carvers, this family that tends the graves in the City of the Dead. And we have this almost Ichabod Crane-like character of this Lord of Darbrent who's alive long after all of his friends have died, all his noble friends. So he goes for walks in the City of the Dead to say hello to all his friends. And he looks like a walking skeleton. And there's one of the young Carver girls caught in the cemetery as the sun's about to go down, and the ghosts, the undead, are about to come out. And he says, "You shouldn't be here. Take my hand." And he takes her out of the, and you're thinking, where is this going? I've got to read this book. Then we come to the books that haven't been published yet.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, so can you give us any hints about what to expect in the next two titles of the series? We've got The Godcatcher by Aaron Evans coming up, and we've got Circle of Skulls by James P. Davis.
The Godcatcher, first of all, don't be misled by the title. All those people out there who don't like books about God or the gods, The Godcatcher's.
Hold the fort! It's a spoiler alert!
And the real genius of this particular book, and again, female readers or readers who like to read about young female characters making their way in the world for the first time, this is what it feels like to rent rooms in this big bad city for the first time. Particularly if you have some unfinished family business that you're not really sure about. You have a wacky landlord, you have a crazy mad woman who comes to the square outside and screams every day, and you're in the city of your dreams, but you don't know if you're going to get to fulfill your dreams. And then it starts getting interesting. So there you go. I've done the teaser promo rather than telling you anything, except I gave away one big secret. Oh dear. Okay, and now we go to Circle of Skulls. Circle of Skulls takes another completely different tack, and it's a very dark one. This is the first book in the series where, holy cadoodle, is the city going to survive?
Oh, wow.
And it's sort of like, oh, I'm getting to see all sorts of scary monsters. The books are different as chalk and cheese, and they're all great. They're standalone books. You don't have to buy a series of books. Each one of those paperbacks you pick up is a crackerjack yarn by itself, and I'm thinking, oh, there's 6 books on my shelf at home that I'm going to pull off and reread about once a month. Maybe once every 2 months once I've got more books I absolutely have to reread, filed in amongst them. But I mean, they're going to all become old favorites. So how was it like working on the series? It was great. Give me more. Correct. I mean, we need, even if they're not Eddie Presents Waterdeep, let's do something else, because I want to see more. Some consternation always enters your mind, both as a fan of the realms and as the creator, when you jump in time. What's the new one going to be like? It's obviously going to be different, but so is it going to be good different, bad different, what different? And I want to see more of the new realms if it's going to be like this. Because it's sort of like, oh, the box of delights has been opened again.
Yes.
So it worked. It pulled it off. Great writers, and I want to see more. So, let's do more.
Yeah.